Okay, it is now, I'm going to say 4 o'clock. It's about 2 minutes after, and we'll call the meeting to order. If everyone would stand, we'll have a moment of silent prayer. Amen. Jean, would you please lead in the flag salute? To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Here.
Here. There are 4 of us. We do have a quorum. Okay, our order of business number 1 under consent items. We have 2 things. Consider approval of the regular minute meetings and consider approval of the special call minute meetings. Do we have a motion that we approve those 2 items?
I'll motion we approve consent items.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? We have a motion. We have a second. Would the clerk please record the vote? Motion passes. Under information items, the update on the banners, I asked Philip if he would hold up. We do have the banners, and if he would hold the banners up for everybody to see. That is a deep green, and I think when they're hung up, and we did put that out and had a lot of people vote, and that seemed to be the biggest. And we didn't realize they were going to be quite that tall. What'd you say they were, John? About 6?
6 feet, yes, ma'am.
Yeah, but anyway, we got them, and that's what they are. And that's just basically, we had approved the banners, so that's the update. Thank you, Philip. And while we're, okay, we need an update on the Durant Dixon statue. Philip, do you have that?
Yes.
Okay.
I went and looked at it, and it has bolts underneath that we're gonna have to cut off, and I talked to Miss Umstead, and she's having some people this next week coming in that I think they're the ones that do the welding on that brass, and they might be able to give me some insight on how, because once we cut him down, when we put him in his new spot, we're gonna have to anchor him, so we're gonna have to have holes cut in him so we can tighten the nuts down, so we don't, and then we'll have to have them come in and weld it back up, so there's no, or at least figure out some way, maybe put a cap in it, where if we ever have to get back in it, we don't have to cut a hole all the time. That's just something, and I think she said they will be here next week when we had that meeting the other morning. So I'm gonna get with those people and see what they have to say, and then maybe we can get him moved. Or when are we supposed to take the flower bed down?
Well, that's on our agenda today.
Oh,
so
okay, so.
we'll get there. I think we basically know where he's going.
Right.
And for those that don't know, we're moving Dixon Durant from the square just in front of city, or into City Hall. Any questions?
Does he need to be set before the landscaping, or can it be landscaped around it?
Well, I was actually gonna, whoa, I'm very loud now. I was gonna ask a question on that. I know that we discussed him going in the flower beds, but I actually met with Janie to discuss the plaque that you guys asked me to do with her. And as we were talking, we started thinking there might be a better location instead of it being in a flower bed, because if we're wanting the overall for people to go and take a picture with him, we might lose that if we put it in a flower bed, because most people wouldn't actually go and get in a flower bed to take a picture. So we kind of had that thought, if that's the main goal, then we would lose that.
No, we weren't planning to put him in the flower bed.
Okay.
Yeah, We just identified that spot.
Right. Didn't we talk about that they were gonna cut that spot off,
Right,
where, you know, on the flower bed where the circle comes out in front? They were gonna take that part out, and then we were gonna set him where that circle was.
Okay. I think I just misunderstood that.
yeah, and have him basically where people can come up and have the
And-
picture made with him.
Have him at ground level.
Yes, that was my understanding as well, but whenever we were talking, I had the understanding that he was gonna go in that flower bed where Andy had proposed a tree go, and I was like, I don't think people are
Yeah.
gonna try to get in the flower bed to take a photo
No,
with him.
remember, we took the tree out, asked him to take it out, but it's right there.
Yeah.
But that's not gonna be rounded out. That seemed to be the best place, to put him, so he will not be in a flower bed.
So
And
right there where that spot is, we'll have to take it down to ground level,
Right.
and we'll set him right there.
Yeah,
Yes.
the board will come in, right. And I guess we're waiting to hear from Janie on, or the guy that's coming on how to best do that without
Right.
destroying,
Yeah, without,
destroying
because
Dixie's record.
there's just enough to look underneath that statue to see bolts under there. And I'm not sure if I can find a blade long enough to reach them to even cut it, so I may have to figure out, but that's what I'd like to do is just saw him off, but when he's reset, then we're gonna have to have access through that base to tighten the nuts on it.
And I might add, we're not gonna move that big bottom
No,
piece.
not the big
In
bottom.
fact, that was already there, is what my understanding is, and he was just put on top of that.
Yeah, we'll leave that there and we'll cut the bolts off smooth and put some mason over top of those so it looks good.
Okay.
And
Any
leave that there.
questions? Anybody? Okay, all right, and then I have here, under information items, under number C, follow-up on Durant City Hall sign. I'm not real sure.
So that was me. And last time when we met, we talked about the city hall sign that was in front and redoing it to match the lettering that was up at the top, or bringing that lettering down. So I didn't know if we needed to have any more conversation about that, or if there was anything there. That was one of the efforts that we talked about potentially doing before the mayor's conference came, just to update that and make it have a little bit more of that modern look.
Okay, well, probably right now, we might ought to get Dixon moved and get the flower beds done, and then maybe address that. Did you have any kind of, I'm sorry, Jean, did you say something?
Just follow up on it at a later date, once we get the, you know, the landscaping.
Yeah.
And then you have a better feel of how the whole thing's gonna look, and then you feel more about what you need to do.
Okay. Okay, we'll go to item number 4 under administration. Number A, discussion and possible action on landscaping. Ms. Kara.
I don't have anything on that. That was not my agenda item. I know Andy had brought forth a bid. I believe Humphrey was gonna try to get a bid, but he didn't have one come back. My question would be, I believe the city has to do a request for proposals in order for us to be able to take action on it. Is that correct, John? Okay, so where do we fall now? I mean, I don't think that we've had any other proposals come in, and with Andy's, he was at 19,000 something, so I'm assuming that would hit where we'd have to go to bid, correct, John? So then do we need to run that through city council at their next council meeting, or how does that process work? I can send it to you. Sure.
Is that over our limit?
It's because of the cost, it'll have to be bid. So, it'll have to go through the actual formal bid process. So,
The only problem we have is a lot of these companies, and I think you've talked to a lot of them in the past, they don't want to do these small little jobs like this. These are small jobs to
yeah,
them.
that's what I found.
And they want something ongoing, I guess. So you're saying we got to put it out on bid?
Yes, ma'am. And if we only get one back, that's all we get, but we gotta go
Okay.
through the process, so.
And John, how long does that bid process take?
We can do it in 14 days,
Okay.
so.
I guess, Kara, can John can Andy get him, I've got a lot of the stuff, but I guess it'd be best for Andy to submit it.
Yeah, we absolutely can. And is there a formal process that needs to go through anyway, John, or can it just be a simple email to you?
You can just email it to me, because what I want is, I want to get the specs.
No.
So we're, looking for apples to apples.
I will get you the entire project proposal, sir.
Okay, thank you, John.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so the action on the landscaping is that it will go out for bid. Carrie, you'll submit it to John, and then he'll submit it for bid, and then if we get any more, I guess we'll just see what happens.
Sounds
But
like
I
a
know in the
plan.
past, we haven't had very good luck. Humphrey, you didn't have any luck, did you?
No.
Okay. Okay, item number B, discussion and possible action on parking lines and city streets.
That was me too. Sorry, guys, I had a lot this time. I don't know if it was the last meeting or meeting before, we had talked about paint and it was on trucks, like out, we didn't have it. Has it been delivered or anything yet?
I'm not sure, about for the parking stripes. Right now, I'm going out for a bid on, striping the streets in Durant. I think we had 92,000 linear feet that we're fixing to stripe. Main Street's one of them. Elm Street, 6th Street. But I'm waiting on the quote. It's on state contract, so we don't have to go out for bid. So I'm just waiting on a quote from that and a company to start doing that. So
And that's just for the streets,
that's just for
correct?
the street. If we get the paint, Carl and the street department will do the parking stripes.
Okay. I know that the Serve Durant Day is coming up really quickly on
Yeah.
April 2nd. So I just thought if we had some of that paint, we maybe could try
Get
to
them to do
utilize
it.
some, utilize some of
They
those.
were gonna paint some of their crosswalks for us last year, but unfortunately, we couldn't get the paint.
Yeah, and I think they still have that on their project for this year too,
Right.
but just thinking forward, knowing that's coming up and what a big difference just some lines could make.
We talked about that last fall, about Serve Durant painting crosswalks, and we couldn't get paint,
Yeah.
and that's the biggest holdup. We
So-
still can't get paint.
So we know we're gonna get the parking lines done.
Yeah, if we,
I mean, the streets.
Streets,
yeah.
yes, ma'am.
But we're not sure at this point
Yeah.
about the,
I'm sure we can get some to do some of them, maybe on Main Street, but
Okay, thank you.
anyway.
I have a question. You was talking about that group that's coming up, that service building's coming.
Yes, ma'am.
I have seen some designs on, painting on the crosswalks.
Mhm.
Who okayed those designs?
I'm not sure. I know that they tried to do those right at, believe the beginning of 2020, Gene, and they had to quit because of COVID. I'm not sure who approved the designs. Do you, John? Yeah, I don't know about that. I just knew it was one of their projects that they were looking at doing, and I believe they had a Choctaw artist that maybe designed, I'm not sure, Gene, it's been way too long.
Personally, I think just the plain white cross, this is just personal opinion, the plain white crosswalks would be so much better. But that's volunteers or,
the
Let's
color
see.
didn't seem to show up for too long. None of them last for too
Well,
long.
it's still black and white, the design that I've
Yeah.
seen. It's just an actual design pattern versus it just being the
okay, well,
stripes.
the one I saw had, I believe the one I saw had a lot of colors in it.
No,
more like
no,
an
ma'am.
Indian
What
No,
they were
it's-
gonna do, it was gonna be a black base, and then it was gonna be outlined in white.
And
with
it looked like
whatever design.
diamonds or something like that.
Something.
It's been a minute since I've seen it,
Yeah, I haven't
Gene.
seen it since last October, I believe.
Like I say, I just saw a mention of it in a picture, and I wondered why that design. That just doesn't, to me, that doesn't fit with the crosswalk,
Right.
but,
Well, I think it just adds some interest to it and makes it feel a little bit better, like it gets people maybe excited to walk. I know that we've been to other cities and they have tons of different crosswalks. I mean, I've seen them where they're like the rainbow and things like that. So I don't know who approved it or how that whole process happened, but I think that was the thought behind it, is it was that, and then it also kind of pulled in
Philip,
some of
you
the
were-
cultural
excuse me,
heritage.
you were here when they painted the crosswalks with all the leftover paint they got their hands on, and there was a lot of people didn't like that.
Yeah, I was out the water plant, but yeah, I remember it.
And we still got part of it you can see out there. Okay, thank
So-
you for your,
So the bottom line on number B is we know we're gonna have the streets,
Yes, ma'am.
but we're not sure at this particular moment on the lines, the parking lines.
Well, I'm just glad to see that it's streets, because streets are very important for safety. I
Yes,
mean,
ma'am.
parking we can deal with, it just,
Yeah.
a little bit of paint goes a long way and just spruces it up, but I'm excited to hear that you've got a bid out for the streets. Thank you for
Yeah.
that, Philip.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Philip. Okay, we have no public hearings, no new business. Does anybody else want to say anything on these administration items before we adjourn? Humphrey, you got anything to say? Jean?
No.
Kara?
I don't have anything on administration, but maybe just an update on the banners. Thank you, Odin, those look really nice. Thank you for doing those.
Well, all I did was get them down about 5 times. We had a hard time, and I asked them to do them like they had been doing for the city. And John and I had no idea they were gonna be 6 foot. I don't know what they normally are, but when I ask them to do them like they normally do, that's how they come out. So they're 6 foot, they'll be seen for sure.
They look very nice, so thank you
thank
for
you.
your work on that.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
ask Phil, I know you've got your hands full. Do you have any idea when the guys can start hanging the banners?
Might be able to work it in the middle of next week. Right now, we're mulching, playground.
Yep.
And if, like, we could catch some rainy days where they can't get in the mulch,
Yep.
I can have them start putting them up,
Okay.
if I can get them.
Well, they don't need to be up there today doing that.
No,
It's
not
obviously
that
windy. No, it's windy.
But, and we wanna take the inside brackets off, right?
Yes.
Just leave the
It,
outside
we've
brackets.
got new brackets with the,
Okay.
so both those in fact, I don't know what size those brackets are. Does anybody know that are up there now? I don't think they're 6 foot.
It's up there now?
We'll
Yeah.
just take
That
them
I
down,
couldn't tell you.
Okay. And we'll store them somewhere.
take them down as we go and
Okay. Okay. And also, this is not on here, but I guess we hadn't gotten any further on the lights on the poles.
James Dalton had looked at, had some he was looking at. The challenge is being able to keep them charged. And he was looking at some with solar chargers. Sort of like ones that go on RVs that are a little bit,
Okay.
but they'll have to have their own solar chargers. And I'll get with him tomorrow and see how he's.
Okay. And maybe at our next meeting, you can give us an update on that, Philip. Thank you. Do we have a motion for adjournment?
I'll motion.
We have a motion, we have a second.
Second.
Did you second?
Yep. Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. Would the clerk please record the vote? Okay, we are now officially adjourned. Matt, that's probably the shortest meeting you've ever been to.